unfortunately, that's one way to find out that you have an easement on your back portion, or you don't actually own it, but, you know, this will just help them get some certainty. It's not that the city can't do the work that it needs, but that the city would never put a street in yet.
So the current property owners, they just want to purchase the land abutting up to their,
Basically, it's a piece of land.
Yeah.
yeah, they just want to purchase
It's
it.
the right of way for the street that would be vacated
Okay.
at that point, and then Knights Boulevard would essentially cease to exist. Even though it hasn't ever been.
Have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Did they make an offer on that one time? Was there an actual offer on the table for it, or?
They did have an offer.
I forget what.
The one, my only concern is that we've had probably 2 of these go through, and there's kind of a square foot price, and I think that it would probably be best to keep it flat across all the purchases that have full width utility easements on them, and I think they were a little bit short on that, so just, that'll be something I'll put in front of you, and if they want to modify their proposal, they can.
Right.
And it's up to the council what you guys want to actually sell that part of
Right.
land for.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Got a first and a second.
Oh, okay, Slater,
Aye.
Shaw,
Aye.
Rusher,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Goodell.
Aye.
The next one is, I need a motion to approve the following proposed resolution 2014-21. Resolution fixing date for a meeting on the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $685,000 general obligation capital loan note series 2014A of the city of Humboldt, state of Iowa, and providing for publication of the notice thereof.
This is the refunding issuance. This, like I said, it's probably somewhere between the neighborhood of $45,000 to $50,000 that'll be saved by putting this out and getting a lower interest rate. The one big savings is to put these issuances through together. You reduce your legal fee costs and some of your underwriting costs by having them piggyback on each other. So it just made sense. I know we haven't really talked about this, but it made sense to do it this time. Scott with Ruan has kind of had this sitting on the back burner until there was a time that really made sense. And so when the $1.2 million came up, he's like, well, you know, should we do that refunding now because we can, you know, save a few extra $1,000 with it. So.
So moved.
Second.
Shaw,
Aye.
Rusher,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Goodell,
Aye.
Slater.
Aye.
The next is a motion to approve the following proposed resolution number 2014-22. A resolution fixing date for a meeting on the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $1,200,000 general obligation capital loan notes, Series 2014A of the City of Humboldt, State of Iowa, and providing for publication of notice thereof.
This is the funding for the Seal Coat project. Would be paid out of debt service. Like I said, it's about total increase in levy is about $1.52 per thousand to pay back this issuance, with the levy increasing as of this upcoming tax year, the FY15 budget. But the levy actually, due to some cost savings and other parts of the levy, it will only actually increase the city levy by $1.20 per thousand.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Rusher,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Goodell,
Aye.
Slater,
Aye.
and Shaw.
Aye.
That's the last item on the agenda. Do you have any comments?
No, I do
John?
not.
John?
Nope.
Dan?
Well, the only thing I wanted to comment was service recognition for person that's celebrating their, or recognizing their anniversary for the month of February with Tom Nielsen with the police department. It was the 15th of this month. He's been employed at the city for 23 years. So just congratulations to Tom and thank him for all his years of service.
It's a long time, isn't it?
That is a long time. Yep.
Just the one thing I wanted to update the council on the bridge. We obviously heard from Stan Stallsmith about how the bridge had the endangered species next to it with the Topeka shiner, or the potential for the endangered species. That actually came to a head with the project actually being pulled from the bid letting as of Friday, or Thursday. And then with that, I immediately started making calls because that was a very serious concern, because it would have postponed the project to almost August. With that in mind, made calls to about everybody I could think of, and we were able to get the project put back on the bid letting. It still carries the same requirements. You know, it still has the Topeka shiner restriction that they can't be in the water between mid-May and the end of July, but they can build cofferdams and do the project. So I think the project's gonna move through really well. We did get the bids back. John and I were talking about this earlier today. The bid that came in that was low bid, it's not, all these are called apparent bids. They're not approved by the DOT yet, but the low bid, as we know right now, is from Godberson and Smith Construction, who evidently did the Highway 3 project, is what John was saying, and they were $2,064,472.71. It's a little bit over it's 12% over the estimate, but you know, that's almost within contingency, and honestly, with the endangered species requirements, it could have been a lot higher than that, I think. So I think that's a good bid, a competitive bid. It's within what we set aside as likely cost for this project, so I think it'll be covered, and it's just a great thing that the project's moving forward, because if it would have been August, you have more kids to contend with, there's just a lot of difficulties that I think would have come up in that time frame. So I guess if you get a chance, thank Daryl Beal and.
Because weren't we shooting for a 2.2 figure, I thought?
2.3, I think, is what I had in there.
With
but-
engineering and everything?
But there's engineering in there too.
Right.
So the estimate that Stan came back with is he had $1,842,050.60. You know, you figure it's 12% higher. Most contingencies are about 10%, 10 to 15%, depending on the project. So it's pretty close to what his contingency number probably would be. You know, I think the biggest concern is with kind of the unknown variables with the endangered species component.
Yep.
I think there was a real opportunity for this to get out of control as far as price, because if somebody's building in there it's kind of like what we ran into with some of the demolition costs. It's like, well, I'm not 100% comfortable with this, so I'm going to throw in a 20% charge on it because I'm scared of what this project could bring. You run into that scenario and you're not going to have competitive bids. So I think it's good to have a solid company with I think the price that's very workable.
How many companies were interested in the project, Aaron, approximately?
Interested, I think there were 7.
7.
There were 4 bids, ranging from a little over $2 million to $2,700,043.
And what was it, the timeline or the deadline for the bids to be received, or
10 a.m. today.
10 a.m. today?
And it wasn't, the reason this is different than your normal process where I would bring you the bids and there'd be a recommendation, is it's a DOT bid letting. And so DOT bid lettings function differently, where they put it out, they put it through their system, they do all the estimates, they basically handle everything. And then what they'll do is they'll kick the bids to the city council once they've reviewed them and made sure that everything's in order. We'll get a document beginning next week, middle of next week, for the city council to act on. It's debatable at this point whether it's worth it to have a special session to approve any of the bid documents, because we're still working with the utilities to get them off the bridge. So an extra 2 days, the utilities might be the bottleneck at this point, because CenturyLink is still working on getting their utilities moved, and Mid-American's gas that's on the bridge is, they're still waiting for pipe material to run their bore under the river. So, hopefully both of them will be off the bridge in a month, but at this point, there's still a lot of variables kind of in play, and so I'm gonna, I guess, leave it up to Stan to provide the advice whether it's worthwhile to call a meeting for an extra 3 days, or whether those 3 days aren't gonna really matter because the utilities will keep the contractor from doing anything. So,
Yeah.
no, I guess one more thing. The DOT, I asked the DOT to perform a traffic count. I haven't had confirmation back yet, but I'm asking them to do a traffic count day one when that bridge is closed at the intersection of Highway 169 and 3rd Avenue, because I think that is going to turn into a very, very difficult situation trying to get out, especially with children going to school. I mean, it's gonna be the only access point from the south side is that, 3rd Avenue. And 169 is already kind of hard to pull out onto when it's fairly busy in the morning. So, hopefully, we'll get a response and they'll get their teams out there to do a traffic count and maybe put up some temporary signage or some sort of temporary control at that intersection, because I think it's gonna be concerning that people might rush it and try and pull out into an unsafe situation.
Oh, I just had a question. Would that be under the city's prerogative to do that, or do you have to have the DOT has to?
Anything
sign off
on a highway, the DOT has to approve. So you can't sneeze next to the highway, which I think is approving it. I mean, it's, any sort of signage, everything like that has to go through them. And frankly, they'd probably take the lead on it because the control of the traffic on Highway 169 is their authority, and they would probably want to dictate exactly how that would transpire. Again, like I've said, I'm still working with them on it, so I don't have any definite answers, but I know that it's been a concern I've heard from several people that they are very concerned about what that intersection is going to be like. Just from the few times that the bridge has been closed down due to borings and other situations, it's created a bad traffic situation there.
Just the study, they were blocking half
Yeah.
back. What a mess.
Yeah. So.
People would almost be better to go 5 blocks further north or 6 blocks north and get on Highway
Absolutely.
3 and
Yeah.
Mhm.
come around the corner on 169.
Be the safest way.
It'd be the safer way, because that intersection, honest God, is gonna be backed up 6 blocks deep.
Yeah.
If everybody tries to go to the same place.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah.
It'd be better off going north, straight north there on Frank Gotch Boulevard or whatever, or 5th Street, out to 3 and,
Yeah.
north on 169,
Well, and that.
or
not to
south on
mention-
169.
I mean, not to mention you've got the truck traffic that comes through there because they
Right.
can't go across the bridge right now. And so you've got the semis that come through there, you're gonna have, all the residential traffic.
Yep.
It's gonna be, and I don't know how you necessarily channel everybody up that way, but I think you're right.
Yeah, people are
You
gonna
know.
have to find alternate,
As long as
everybody
they're not on 6th Avenue North.
Just
Yeah.
thinking about using that. Your office have anything?
No.
Brett?
Nothing.
With that, I'd entertain a motion to set the next council meeting for March 3rd, 2014 at 5:30. And for the next council meeting, and to adjourn this session at 3 minutes after 6.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.